What's up with it, Raider Nation? It's your boy, Raider Honcho, and I'm back with a brand new video for you. If you're a fan of the Las Vegas Raiders and want to support this channel, please subscribe. And if you got some extra time, go check out RaiderHoncho.com. Go and get you something out of there. Alright, so let's get right into it, okay? We have just finished day 3 of free agency, which is pretty much day 1 of official free agency. The tampering period is over, and I just think it's important for me to get to my updates, let you know on all my takes on what's been going on so far, and it's time to discuss, is it Sherman time? Is it time for John Gruden, Mike Mayock, to go out there and go get that veteran cornerback, that veteran defensive back that we so covetedly need? I don't even know if that's a damn word, but you know damn well we need one. All right, there's no way you're going to convince me that Gus Bradley doesn't want a vet in the defensive backfield to help guide those young players into his system, to help kind of coach those players along. Now, I've had a lot of people in my comments saying, well, what's the point of paying all these coaches all this money just to have a player come in and coach? That's not how it works, man. That's not how it works, okay? We all, like I said, we all have parents, right? But we learn some of our best life lessons from either friends or parents of friends, coaches, teachers. So even though we have parents, sometimes we learn our most valuable lessons from people outside of the house, okay? And it's the same way with coaching sports. Like, some things that I learned as a player didn't necessarily come from my head coach or my position coach. It might have came from a coach from another team. It might have came from a parent of another player on the team, or it might have just came from a senior when I was a freshman. You understand what I'm saying? So Richard Sherman could come in and be that all-state varsity player, senior, who's been in the system long enough to help that star freshman, who even though he has the athletic ability, he might not have the intellect to grasp the scheme yet, and he can help him along. So that's why you bring in veteran presence. That's why you bring in veteran leadership, and that's why I think the Raiders need to go sign Richard Sherman. Now, I will say, Richard Sherman might come at a price, but after seeing yesterday that Patrick Peterson signed, I think, 1 year, $10 million. I can easily see the Raiders getting Sherm for maybe 1 year, $5.5 up to $7.5 million. And I think you have to do that. I think in the beginning of free agency, we were prepared to pay Richard Sherman $10 million for a year or two. So I think you can get him. I think it is absolutely Sherm time. And while we're talking about defensive backs, let's not forget that Anthony Harris is still out there. As of now, I'm recording this video. It's about 8:30 in the morning on the East Coast, so anything can happen. And because anything can happen, I probably will be doing another lunchtime live today just to go over anything that does happen after I drop this video. But Anthony Harris is still out there, and Hooker is out there. So, you know, the possibilities of bringing in a free safety is still there, but we have to understand that there is potentially something brewing in Las Vegas where Isaiah Johnson might end up being our free safety. I think that's something we have to consider. I mean, we've been seeing all the reports that they're falling in love with Isaiah Johnson. They like his wingspan, his reach, his length, his speed, the fact that he's raw. That sounded crazy. But all those things being considered, it is possible and plausible that he could be an option at free safety that they're thinking about. I mean, don't forget that in the Miami game, at the end of the game, he was one of the safeties in there. Right? So if they feel like he doesn't really have a position, a jack of all trades, master of none, it's very quite possible that he could end up being an option at free safety and then us drafting another one. Or bringing in a free safety late in free agency and then having him learn under that guy. So it is possible that Harris is still available. You still have Hooker out there that's available. And Isaiah Johnson might be one of the options they're looking at. I wouldn't be surprised to see Isaiah Johnson get reps at safety and bring in a veteran corner like Sherman, or go draft a corner in the draft. Like, I can see that happening. Let me know in the comments what you think about Isaiah Johnson moving to free safety. I haven't heard anything about that officially, but I think that's something to definitely think about. All right, so now that we're here, let's just go over some of the moves that went on yesterday, okay? We all know I talked about the John Brown situation. I don't hate the John Brown situation. I don't love the John Brown situation. I'm just like, okay, that's cool. It's a good move as far as us saving money, but we got to stop comparing him to Nelson Aguilar and what Nelson did and what he's going to do. Until you do it, that's it. There's no comparison. You can't make that argument. We're paying a guy $3.5 million that we don't really know what he's going to do with us yet. We paid Nelson Aguilar $980,000 when we didn't know what he was going to do. So the verdict is still out. The only issue I do have with the Brown signing is that I don't know if he answers our red zone issues. A bigger wide receiver like a Galladay or AJ Green. Not that I wanted AJ Green. Let's be clear on that. But it would have made sense when it's like, okay, we added size to that red zone offense that we so desperately need help on. But if you're gonna tell me we're gonna spread Darren Waller out, use Foster Moreau a little more, then I'm completely fine with that. But we do have to address those issues in the red zone. Okay, so now we all saw Rodney Hudson being released, and we all had issues with it. I will say, I don't have as much issue with the Rodney Hudson situation now that we've seen that we got something for him. I think that makes it completely different, okay? When you're talking about a veteran player declining in age, or actually getting up there in age but declining in productivity, and you want to move on from him, that's different when you say we're just going to release him. We're just going to release him and let him go wherever he wants. I didn't like that. But the fact that we got a third round pick for him, I'm okay with that now. Because Andre James can play. Andre James is a player. And eventually you're going to have to move on from Rodney Hudson. And just like the Patriots, even though I hate them, it's always better to get rid of a guy a year too early than a year too late. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. So the fact that we turned Hudson into a third round pick and we turned Gabe Jackson into a fifth round pick, I'm good with that. I don't have no complaints about that. It's very drastically different to get picks for a guy than to just release a guy. All right, so my tune on that has completely changed. All right, when it first came out that we were just releasing guys, I was pissed off. But when you think about us getting value for him, and you know how I am about value, I'm okay with that. All right, now we did sign back Denzel Good. We did sign back Richie Incognito, which I told y'all would happen a week ago, 2 weeks ago. I felt like Richie Incognito was going to come back and we'd get him for a cheaper price. Most of us in Raider Nation thought that, so it's good to see that, right? So now you're looking at our offensive line, and it doesn't look as bad as it did before. And put into consideration that we do have Tom Cable, I think we could do something. Now, when you look at Denzel Good, Richie Incognito, Colton Miller, Andre James, we're missing that right tackle, right? If we don't go and get one in free agency, I think everything is lining up for us to draft a right tackle in the first round. Maybe even if not the first round, we're definitely going to address that in the draft, okay? Now, before I go on to the next subject, because they kind of go hand in hand, we have to talk about how we retooled that defensive line. Hankins is back, 1-year deal. We got Quentin Jefferson here on the 1-year deal. Solomon Thomas here on the 1-year deal. I like all of that. I thought Hankins would walk, honestly. I didn't think he would come back because I didn't expect us to give him $3.5 million. But I'm glad he did come back because he was not one of the issues last year. And he actually was one of our best run stoppers. So I'm glad that he came back. Right now, when you think about that, we also got Yannick out there. We have definitely retooled this defensive line, right? Now, with the retooling of the defensive line, it goes hand in hand with the offensive line. Because now that we have retooled that defensive line, it really makes it like we're setting up to go heavy offensive line in that first round. We might not go defensive tackle. So, and we're probably not going to go free safety or DB in the first round now either. It's really lining up for the Raiders to go get that cornerstone piece to grow with Colton Miller and Andre James, right? That's just what it's setting up to look like. And I really can't have an issue with that at this point because we did address that defensive line. All right, I do think that we have to address a veteran defensive back presence, and I think we still can do that. Like I said, Richard Sherman is still out there. Anthony Harris is still out there. Malik Hooker is still out there. There's still options out there for us, all right? And speaking of options, we have to talk about a second running back, and there's a guy I've been naming for a couple weeks now, and that's Kenyan Drake. I can see Kenyan Drake being a really good complimentary back to Josh Jacobs, all right? You got that fire and ice. You got that thunder and lightning. Kenyan Drake, although is bigger than Josh Jacobs, he plays more like a scat back, and I think that bodes well for our offense, right? John Gruden could use him in the offense, the screen game, dump it to him out of the backfield. He's a good blocking back, good third down back. I think that adds a little bit of dimension to our offense, and I really like that pickup. But if you don't go there, you got to look at Carson, you got to look at Jamal Williams, and you could also look in the draft, okay? I've already named some guys in the draft that I like, so you know, we got to see what's going on with that, all right? Let's see. What else do I got up in here for you guys before I go? Let me know what you guys think it's worth to pay Richard Sherman. I think it's worth $5.5 to $7.5 million for 1 year. I really think that, all right? But yeah, those pretty much are the moves that we had yesterday, and those are pretty much my thoughts on it. I think yesterday was a way better day for us as an organization, and I think that the fans would agree with that too. I think most of Raider Nation would agree yesterday was a pretty good day for us. Now, I will say you have to ask yourself the question. All these moves seem well on the outside, right? From outside looking in, they seem like good ideas. But are we better than we were last year? Or are we just better than we were 2 days ago when free agency started, right? That's what you really have to ask yourself. Now, everybody wants to look at it like, we told you there was a plan in place. We told you that they knew what they were doing. Look, that's yet to be determined. That's yet to be determined, because putting all these pieces on the team don't matter if you can't get them to play well. If you can't get them to play at the top of their ceilings, then it doesn't really matter, right? Like, if we can't get the most out of these guys and coach these guys up and develop these guys, it's not really going to matter. So we still have to see about that, all right? I don't know if you can trust a damn word that John Gruden says at this point. I don't know if Derek Carr is going to be our quarterback. I don't know why Marcus Mariota hasn't had his contract restructured yet. So there's still a lot of holes in this offense and holes in our organization, right? So we really got to just wait and see if it plays out. And like I've been telling y'all, some of y'all only watch the first half of my videos. I can tell, because I can see when you stop watching. So some of y'all see the first half of my videos and think that I'm completely negative. But if you watch the whole videos, you'll see that I do trust what's going on. But I am allowed to have hesitation and be hesitant to some of the moves that we have made so far, right? Doesn't make me not a Raiders fan or anything like that, all right? So don't come all on my shit acting like a jabroni, okay? Because I'm here for all the smoke and we can get to it, all right? But that's all I got for you right now. I probably will be going live today, later on, maybe around lunchtime or whatever, to see what's been cooking up, see what new transaction has transpired, what moves we've made or not made, and I'll keep you guys posted on everything. So, as usual, I appreciate all you guys for checking in. Appreciate you guys supporting the channel. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up and like the video. If you like the content on this channel, please subscribe to the channel. RaiderHoncho.com. And until the next time, Raider Honcho out.